Well, it's a Monday. Here we go. Let's go. Look at these guys. Oh, look at them. Bart and Han reunited, and it feels pretty good.
Look at these
McNutt
guys.
is standing.
I can't sit down. It's just so much to get to. Let's go.
Graziano is packed up for Indy. He's all ready to roll for the Combine. Commander Tim is excited over there. We got so much to get to. Oh, and Tim Hasselbeck is up early this morning. He'll be in New York this week. Good to be back. Let's do this. Top of the NBA's Eastern Conference. All in action yesterday. Fascinating storylines. Let's start with the Cavaliers and the Grizzlies yesterday. Cavs have been so good. This is third quarter. Tim Legler, nothing we love more than a little scuffle, and we're going to get one with Mitchell and Desmond Bane.
Yeah, it's not a 90s scuffle, let's be clear about that, but it's just a couple of guys very aggressively trying to come up with this loose ball. But, hey, listen, I love it. You give me any bit of spice in an NBA game, I'm going to take it.
Offsetting technicals, Donovan Mitchell all smiles. Here we go. 3 minutes, fourth quarter, Cavs up 10. John Morant not giving up, watching Monica go into the hole strong.
He's not dunking as much as he once did, but he still has the ability to get to the rim and finish.
He's going to get dunked on, however, here. Jared Allen.
Hug it out.
Everyone's
That's
hanging
definitely not
on
a
each
nice
other.
basketball leg.
Just over a minute to go. Okay, Allen, take a look at Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, my.
Ow!
Yes, send it down.
Exclamation
down
point.
The paint, and that's a business decision by Aldama there.
Spider Mitchell, 33 points. Ja had 21. Cavs win at 129-123. Staying with the top of the East. Early action. Knicks and Celtics in Boston. Monica, you were there. And the domination of the Celtics, quick, and Jason Tatum.
Yeah, this happened quickly and early in this one. And it wasn't just Tatum. I mean, the Celtics got to whatever it is that they wanted, whether it was threes, whether it was getting to the paint. The ball was moving around the perimeter, snap, crackle, pop, and basket.
Celtics have had 20-point leads in all three games against the Knicks this year. Fourth quarter, it's sort of a game. It was an 8-point game. That's Kristaps Porzingis with the dunk. Then it's Karl Anthony Towns on the other end, stuffed, and he seems to hurt the knee, but he would return to the game. Looks like he's okay, but this one, Legs, was all about the Celtics. Tatum would score 25.
Yeah, they look laser focused right now, and they came out that way. The Knicks made their big run in the third quarter with Towns and Brunson, but once Boston recalibrated, they again separated from them.
They couldn't have looked possibly better, and where does that leave us? Well, Kendrick Perkins yesterday on Countdown said this.
And your 2025 NBA champions are the Boston Celtics.
You're calling it now.
Okay.
All right, well, let's just go home.
February 23rd.
OKC is not beating them.
3:22
The Nuggets
Eastern.
are not beating them. The Cavs are not beating them. The Knicks damn sure are not beating them. And the Milwaukee Bucks are not beating the Boston Celtics. When they want to turn it up another level defensively, it's no team, not the Knicks and nobody else around the league, that's going to challenge them.
Kendrick Perkins just sent rings to Boston. Tim Legler, are you on board?
Not to that extent. Come on. Look, I understand what he's saying, the way Boston looks right now. And I think we all were kind of expecting this at some point. You weren't going to be as hungry at the start of the year. They just weren't. They just won a championship. They finally broke through. But they're there now. But to say that teams like Oklahoma City and Cleveland aren't capable of beating the Boston Celtics, I think, to me, I wouldn't take it that far. I think they both are. But right now, what Boston is reminding you of is this. They have the most versatility in their starting lineup of any team in the NBA. And that's really what differentiates them from everybody else. When you've got 5 different guys that not only can beat you off the dribble, can beat you with the catch and shoot three, but they also impact the game on the other end of the floor individually and collectively, they're the only team that really has that in their starting lineup. That's why I think Perk feels the way he does, and the Boston Celtics are reminding people right now on a nightly basis what they were a year ago.
Because I'm me, I'm going to make a golf analogy. Anyone can win any week on the PGA Tour, but there's usually someone who, if they play their best, no one can beat them. If Scottie Scheffler plays his best, no one's going to beat him. That's the way I see the Celtics. If the Celtics play their best, nobody's going to beat him, and that is not disrespecting anyone. The Cavaliers are unbelievable, and let's not even deal with the West yet, OKC. If the Celtics play their best, nobody beats them.
Yes, and continuity is a big part of that because of what they have. Talking with Hembo before the show, and he said something that really stuck out to me, which is 99% of their minutes are players that were on last year's team.
That part.
Playing for a championship. You have that. And also had a really good line I got to credit him for. They can play together blindfolded at this point. That's just how much continuity they have, and you can see it. And now the only thing in my mind that can stop them is health, because they are fully healthy right now. Derek White was going through some stuff earlier in the season. They struggled. Once he gets his game going, which he has, they are on a different level. And that's what they are right now as they get ready for a back-to-back for the first time since 1969.
McNutt, you've got tape.
Oh, let's do the tape.
Yes.
I do have tape.
Yeah.
This to me is about how well this offense works. So everything that we just started talking about, right? The way that they move the basketball, they barely have to dribble. In fact, in this first play. So this was early in the ball game. You can count the passes, but we can also count the dribbles. That was 1 by Derek White in the corner. I think Jaylen Brown's gonna give you 3 here or 2. So that's 3 total. The ball's just moving, and this is actually a good defensive possession by the Knicks in terms of contesting, and still they're knocking down threes at a high clip. This time, Jaylen Brown is in the action. Look at Derek White off the weak side. Like, the Knicks are scrambling. They're doing what they're supposed to do, but the ball just moves and there's no hesitation. And again, guarded shot, but it's cash. This time, you're gonna get Jason Tatum top of the key. You give him this kind of room, good luck, right? You gotta drag your help defense in. Cornette is executing on the back end. This is a clean screen, boom, another 3. I know there's conversation about too many threes and what's happening in the league. Whether you like it or not, they're going to get the threes up, and more times than not, they're going to hit them.
I think their balance is better right now than it was earlier in the year in terms of when to take certain threes. There were nights I watched them the first 3 months of the season when I felt like any daylight, anybody, anytime, take the first good one. You're helping teams guard you when you do that. They're not doing it as much now. And to Monica's point, they're showing a little bit more discretion of when to take those early quick ones that are semi-contested. Now they realize we've got guys that can break you down off the dribble. So that next 3 we're going to get on this possession is going to be a cleaner look with somebody on balance toed up. And I think they've struck a better balance in that, which is making their offense almost unstoppable.
So boom, right? Because then you're watching the way that they've spaced the floor and you're flying around. And then you got Luke Cornette sitting at the rim and Jaylen Brown is throwing little baby lobs right in front of the rim. And so because you have to play them for the 3, the space is crazy when they do decide to attack the paint. So it's just, they kill you in multiple ways.
So something you said only briefly there at the end, let's make sure we sort of underline it. The Boston Celtics are one of the 2 sort of bedrock franchises of the NBA. They've won more championships than anybody. What's the last time they won back-to-back titles?
1969, believe it or not. And they've won a lot of titles since then, of course. The
but
80s
never
back-to-back. Yeah, and this is their opportunity to do that. You're going back to Bill Russell days at what Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Joe Mazzulla are trying to do.
The point is that Larry Bird never did it, and all these teams never. The Paul Pierce, Celtics, all that they never won back-to-back. All the even if you those of you who go back, the Dave Cowens, John Havlicek Celtics of the 70s, they won a bunch of titles. They never won them back-to-back. The Celtics are trying to do something they haven't done since Russell.
Yeah, and like you're cognizant of that, but we talked to Joe Mazzulla before the game yesterday, and he said that in the room, like, because you were talking about that second year, what's different coming out of a championship off season and whatnot. And he basically was talking about how hard it is and why it's hard. Because, they haven't even done it here since 1969. And that's when it got like, wow, you're right. Boston won those 3 in the 80s with Bird, but none of those are back-to-back. Of course, the Paul Pierce teams didn't get a chance to do that either.
I'm getting a text here. It's from Cleveland Sports Talk Radio saying, hey, guys, why the hell are you just talking about the Celtics?
I mentioned them. I mentioned the Cavs.
Well, we led with the highlight, but so let's get into it right now, okay? So we're sitting here talking about the Celtics at their best. The Cavs have been the best team in the – well, let's just do it by conference because it's kind of hard to differentiate. Yeah. The Cavs have been the best team in the Eastern Conference from the minute the ball was thrown up in October. Why are we sitting here talking about the Celtics being the team to beat?
Because the Celtics have history in the postseason, and that gives you confidence. We don't know what this Cavaliers team is going to look like in the postseason. I will say, though, Friday prior to the Knicks playing the Cavs, I had a chance to talk with Donovan Mitchell, and he said something that was really interesting to me in the locker room as we were just checking out these highlights. He's like, I've had to sacrifice this year. And this was because Tom Thibodeau said that what he's done this year is overlooked. But he talked about understanding that he's not been able to be successful and adjusting his leadership to what this group needs. And it's largely been about setting the table as much as it is calling his number. And so while Donovan Mitchell is having a terrific year, everybody around him and the way that this unit is playing with confidence. Like, there's quotes coming out of Cleveland about Evan Mobley wanting to be one of the best guys in the leagues over the next 5 years, which is like where they are in terms of a confidence standpoint. I don't think we're talking about them because we don't know what it's going to look like in the postseason, but they got the pieces.
So can I just give you a little, so I'm on my vacation, right, and it's Friday night, we're having a nice dinner, and I thought to myself, oh, the Knicks are playing the Cavs tonight on ESPN. I'm excited. I'm going to watch the second half of that game. And as we're getting the check, I looked at my phone, and it's 77-50 at halftime. So needless to say, I didn't watch the second half of that game. The Cavaliers are just running roughshod over everybody.
I was contractually obligated, so was Monica to watch the second half of that game because I would have turned it off as well. And here's the problem. We all got excited about that matchup. This was, the Knicks hadn't played the Cavs since October. And actually, the Knicks were up by 15 in that game before they lost late in that game. So it felt like it would be competitive. And the Knicks have owned Cleveland in Cleveland. So this set up to be a game for everybody to be excited about. The only problem is everyone else was excited. The Knicks were not. They did not show up for that game. That's alarming.
Listen, the Cavaliers are legit, and it's for three very specific reasons of why I think this is a different scenario than last year with the Cavaliers. I think, first of all, they just picked up DeAndre Hunter. I think that's one of the most underrated acquisitions in the league this year, and they specifically got him for Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And by the way, it doesn't hurt. He also knocks down threes at a 40% clip. So you answered two things: your style, the way you like to play offensively, and a guy that can deal with these big forwards on your number one team you're trying to get past. I think the emergence of Ty Jerome has really been one of the stories in the league this year, too, and you saw it last night. He controlled the game in the fourth quarter for the Cavaliers. And then the last thing is the emergence of Evan Mobley. He's a different player offensively with his confidence, his aggressiveness. So you add all that up. This is a team that lost in the second round last year to the Celtics. This is a significantly better team. And I think, for me, they're absolutely looking the Celtics dead in the eye. I think they are capable of beating them, but you'd lean to the Celtics because of the experience.
We'll do the West a little bit later. As far as the East, it's Cleveland and Boston, and they're not going to like hearing